Have you ever wondered what goes into making a beautiful bar of handmade all-natural soap? Well, I'm about to tell you today. This is a great behind-the-scenes look at someone who's been making soap for over 25 years now. But keep in mind, this is not a full tutorial, but it is going to show you, we're basically pulling the curtain back and letting you see what's involved in making handmade all-natural soap. So to get into it a little bit, first I've got here in front of me some of the basics as far as both ingredients and equipment that we use when we make our natural soaps. We use natural botanicals, for example, poppy seeds go in our eucalyptus and tea tree soap. We use real lavender buds in our lavender sage soap. We use spearmint leaf in our Good Morning Mint soap. We mix our soaps in big pots like this with a stick blender, but it's a super-sized stick blender, much bigger than if you've got a stick blender that you use in your kitchen. And then our products, they are all natural, so we use pure essential oils in them. We don't use any fragrance. And we weigh everything. We don't use it by cups or tablespoons or whatever everything. We go by weight because some, for example, essential oils or base oils or whatever, they may be thicker or heavier than others. And part of why I feel it's so important to use natural ingredients is because your body can get sensitized to synthetic ingredients. We've had, I think, over the last number of years, it seems like I never used to, years and years ago, hardly ever hear about fragrance allergies, and now I hear about it all the time. And that's because even trash bags, they put synthetic fragrance in. Obviously, they're not going to spend the money for essential oils to scent their trash bags, but they put a synthetic fragrance. And when you get bombarded with that over and over, then a lot of times you can actually develop a sensitivity to it. So that's why we choose to use natural ingredients and essential oils that actually come from nature instead of synthetic fragrances that are created in a lab somewhere. The next step is I want to take you actually into a little quick overview of the process that we do when we create our soaps. But I did want to mention a free resource that we have for you if you'd like to get into a little bit more in terms of ways that you can bring essential oils into your own skincare routines or rituals into your own life. Is if you look down below, we've got a link to our free skincare rituals guide. It's goes through how to use essential oils with recommendations and safety cautions and everything. It's totally free and the link is down below. So stick with me, and then we're going to go through a little bit step by step, a quick overview of how we make our soaps. So thanks. See you in a minute. Okay, now Andrew is getting ready to line the mold on the sides with the parchment paper, which is the trickiest part of the whole thing. The first step after we get our equipment set up is to start measuring out the oils that go into the pots for the soap. And I try to start with the hardest oils first and work my way down to the softer oils. So for example, over here is our lavender chamomile, and we actually use cocoa butter in it, which is harder than any of the other oils. So it's already starting to melt on the burner in that. And then this pot here that I'm working on is our lavender oatmeal. It doesn't take cocoa butter in it. So I'm starting with our soybean that's going that. And then, particularly since it's summer, it's soft enough that you can just pretty much scoop it out. And then again, I have my, if you can see, the pot is on a scale here. So like I said, you want to do everything by weight. So I go through and I put all the oils into the pot that I need, and then I'll melt it and then move on to the next oil. So then the next step is going to be, I'll show you as far as measuring out the essential oils. So that's it for now. Okay, here we are. We are pouring essential oils for our lavender chamomile soap. So it only takes just a little bit of the chamomile in it, which is good because chamomile is a very expensive essential oil. So I pour that in first, since it's the expensive one. Make sure if I make a mess I can change it. And then I pour in the lavender. I always quadruple check my quantities on here, so better safe than sorry. And once again, you want to use a scale to measure. You don't ever want to do it by volume. It needs to go by weight. Is the most accurate way for both your essential oils and your base oils. And that is the essential oils for our lavender chamomile. So the next step that I'll do is I will actually mix the lye and let that has to cool down because it starts out really hot after it's mixed. And then we're going to show you actually how we mix soap and then pouring the soap and eventually cutting the soap. So keep watching and you'll see the rest of the process. Thanks for being here. Okay, we are at the mixing stage of the soap, and Andrew is pouring in the lye right now into our oils that we melted. This is our lavender chamomile soap, and he's gonna mix it until it comes to what we call trace, which is he'll turn off the mixer a little bit when he thinks he gets to that stage, and you can dribble a bit across the surface and it should hold like a letter, like an A or a zigzag or something, so that it's gotten thick enough. That's what we call trace. And you can see he's got on long sleeve shirts and gloves because lye is very caustic. So I actually ended up years ago in the emergency room with second-degree burns from a spill from the lye solution. So you definitely don't want to mess around with it. So now he's going to add the oatmeal. This is, again, our lavender chamomile soap. We do put some oatmeal into it. Not as much as our lavender oatmeal soap, but it does have a little bit in it. And he's going to blend that up. Now he's adding the lavender chamomile essential oil blend into the soap mixture. So he's going to add that in and finish stirring it in, and then we've got to pour. And now Andrew's pouring it into a mold. The mold holds approximately 50 pounds of soap, which would be 2 pots. This is just 1 pot, so that's about 25 pounds of soap right there. So there we go. Then we get it in there, then it has to sit overnight, and then tomorrow I'll cut it into logs and then into bars. So stay with me. You can see the rest of the process. Or so last night, and now it is a little after 1. So this is probably in some ways one of the trickier parts of the process, at least for me, is judging exactly when to cut your soap, because if you cut it too early, then it can be soft and runny in the middle and you'll lose part of your bars. If you wait and cut it too late, it's going to be really hard to get the cutter all the way through it. So let me get it unmolded and we'll see how it does, and hopefully everything will go great, and we'll show you how the logs and the bars get cut. Okay, the cutter went through the lavender chamomile very well, so hopefully it's solid enough that in the middle that it's going to do well. I've already pulled off one log. You can see what that looks like there. And then what happens is, moving over here, is I put the log on the cutter and then we'll cut that into bars. So I'm going to set up the camera so you can actually watch me cutting it into bars. So here we go. Hi, we are here now cutting our logs of lavender chamomile soap into bars. So this is now what one of the bars looks like. When we cut a log into bars where we poured basically 25 pounds of soap, then we end up with 6 bars out of each log. So that's what I'm doing now. And then we set them out to dry in our drying boxes, similar to what we've got right here, because the bars all need to cure for 4 to 6 weeks, 3 at a very minimum, because the longer that they cure, then they're going to be milder, they're going to be harder, which means they're going to last longer. So when they cure about 4 weeks or so, the water evaporates, enough water evaporates out of the bar, so it makes for a nice, firm, hard, long-lasting bar, and it's also going to be a milder bar. So log by log from the block of soap that we poured, put it in the cutter, and cut it into bars. So that's the basic process that we have for our handmade natural soap. So if you enjoyed finding out more about behind the scenes of how we make handmade natural soap, consider subscribing to my channel, because I talk about what goes into our soap, how we do it, and a lot about the essential oils, which is a big part of what we make and what we do. I also share tips on self-care and holistic skincare as well. So you can subscribe to my channel, and if you're interested in finding out more and bringing more, learning more about essential oils with your own skincare journey, consider grabbing my free skincare rituals guide to essential oils for skincare and self-care, which the link is down below in the description as well. So thanks so much for watching, for being here. I hope you have a great day. Take care.